All right, Greg. Well, how about adding some carrot sticks, maybe with some peanut butter or something to dip into your kids' pack school lunches?
Uh, yeah, my kid doesn't like that. My kid does
Okay.
not like those foods. Mm-mm.
Okay. So, what vegetables does your child like?
None. None at all. But I need them to eat more vegetables.
Okay. So here's the thing. Their lunchbox probably isn't the place to start. At school, kids are overstimulated. There's lots going on. They usually don't have a lot of time to eat. So I would recommend let's work on offering new vegetables at dinner time. You can just cook up a new one every week, put it in front of them, give them the chance to say yes, no, try it, and we can see how that goes from there.
Mm, nah, I don't think I can do that. I really don't want to cook. So, what can I put in their lunchbox that is healthy?
Ugh.
All right. Well, that was a fun little thing. Welcome,
That
everybody,
was-
to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we get to meet and learn from our CFE coaches. And we get to see some of their acting skills as well. And we get to learn more about some of our CFE CrossFitters and occasionally talk with some of our locally owned Glenhead businesses and the characters behind that. I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston, presentation digital content consultant for business owners and entrepreneurs. And with me, as always, is the incomparable GSkell, Greg Skelly.
Hi, guys. I'm Greg Skelly, also your co host, the CEO and GM of CrossFit Edwardsville. Today, we are joined by the incomparable nutrition coach and the co host of the badass Barbells and Bone Broth podcast,
I do
Miss
that now.
Kelsey Albers.
Well, I'm also moonlighting as a frustrated nutrition coach. So you're welcome.
The acting was on point, Kelsey. You
I
might,
miss my
there might be
calling.
maybe a second career for you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
maybe if
want
you
you
need
both to know that
to,
I stood on the other side of this, thoroughly enjoying every moment of it.
At the
Yeah.
edge of your seat.
It was
Yeah.
good. So yeah. Kelsey, that kind of led into that opening skit there that you guys did, how you guys decided to talk about really fall rhythms and
Mhm,
healthier foods. So
mhm,
today on the podcast, everybody, we're going to have a conversation about fall foods.
mhm.
Some of our favorites, both healthy and healthy, some of the favorite substitutes, maybe some ideas for winning the, as we saw there at the beginning, the back to school healthy eating battle, because fall is coming, y'all.
amen to
And I'm
that.
so excited.
Right. I get the feeling that Kelsey is definitely a fan of fall.
I do. I do. Oh my gosh. Like I'm like the most basic white girl who has ever basic white girl, but like give me a pumpkin spice latte, give me boots, give me a sweater, and I am like happy.
I will say that October is my absolute favorite month of the entire year.
Mhm,
And as you guys know, I Halloween hard that
mhm,
entire month. Stoked. Looking forward to.
mhm,
I'm trying to enjoy summer for as long as it lasts. I'm gonna milk it for all it's worth. But when fall arrives, we gotta be ready. We
mhm.
gotta be ready.
I think
Yeah.
I think I'm the lone person on this conversation today that doesn't like fall very much at all.
Ugh.
Like, I like the long days, I like summer, I
Mhm,
like grill food, I like outdoor food. As a matter of fact, sitting on the kitchen counter right now is a mango with my name on it. I just
ooh.
love all of those elements of summer. So uh
I will
I'm
say
not a pumpkin fan either. Not much of a pumpkin guy. So
Hmm. Okay.
pumpkin
maybe
spice.
today, Dallas, we can find some reasons for you to be more excited about fall. Maybe we can share some ideas that get you stoked to enjoy this autumn instead of just riding it out.
Yeah, that slow decline into dark days and cold winter.
Yeah,
It's always a
yeah,
great time, the
That's
reminiscent of
funny.
the descent.
Mhm.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so that's actually today we're gonna talk a little bit about the fall foods, and let's go into that first. Kelsey, we'll start with you. What are some of your favorite fall foods, either healthy or unhealthy?
Sure. So I already mentioned I'm a big pumpkin spice latte fan. And I've moved away. Like if I do it from like a chain like Starbucks or something, like it's really started to be a little bit too sweet for me. So I've started experimenting with like at home recipes and stuff like that. But I like a good pumpkin spice latte. I like Sunday afternoon chili for football season. Like football season starts that weekend after Labor Day, right? And like I
Yeah.
make a pot of chili that weekend. It's usually about 92 degrees and disgusting to eat chili, but I do it because the point of it. So there's that. And then I don't like, I just like I have all these memories. Like I feel like fall foods are full of nostalgia
Mm.
for
Yeah.
most people because fall is such a change from summer and there's so many memories, bonfires and s'mores or roasted hot dogs or like after football games in high school, we would go to the local pizzeria and eat pizza and that sort of stuff. So there's a bunch of all little other favorite fall foods that I enjoy. But since fall is my favorite season, I'm like, let me tell you.
So I'll actually jump in, and Kelsey, I will give you credit. You did mention one of the fall foods that I love, which is chili.
Chili.
I am a
Mhm.
chili
Yes.
person. And a couple years ago when we had the chili cook-off at CrossFit Edwardsville, I think I came in second or third place. And
I
if we
think
do
so.
that again, I think I'm going to take the belt. I think I'm going to take the title. I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. Throw down. You mentioned you Halloween hard. Talk to us about
Yeah.
what that means.
Shoot. This is probably the wrong venue for this, but like, I eat healthy. I eat healthy year round with a big fat exception of Halloween day where I eat all the Halloween candy, all of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All of it, Dallas. Like it is a well established event that the other CrossFitters look to, and they actually chart this out because it's such a spectacle. Let me tell you. But in terms of like good ideas, because like
Well,
what I do on
I do
Halloween
need
is
to
very
interject though, G, before you get into the healthy stuff. I am going to interject. There was a video of you that circulated, I believe, that your wife took last year as
yeah
you were out trick or treating. Maybe not last year, the year before.
yeah
And you're sitting there with like your little mini Kit Kat, and you're like 22, and you're counting
yeah.
them out as you eat them, 23. And
Oh
so
my
you're still keeping a mental note of how many you actually intake during that.
I
Oh my
think that
God.
video
So
needs to resurface for sure.
I have no shame in my game. I'm pretty sure I'd help you find that video. And the reason being is that I actually track all of my I track all my food intake. And so I track how many of the fun size Snickers bars I actually eat on Halloween. And let me tell you, the numbers are stupid. Like there's only like 9,000 calories of candy on Halloween. It is like dumb
Wow.
numbers. Let me tell you. So yeah.
That's
Well,
like a
so
Michael Phelps regular eating day.
Yep.
so what are some of the healthy options that you love there, G?
Dude, I am all about the chili life. I'm super stoked. We are going to be doing our CrossFitter chili cook-off competition again in October. Super stoked about that. Maybe September, depending on how it goes. But
Bring it.
I'm all about the chili life. And that said, I've also in recent years I've gotten to be more and more a fan of like the pumpkin flavored coffee options and the pumpkin flavored
Yes.
smoothie options that can happen around town there too. And maybe here and there the apple pies that can happen too. So
Mhm. Ooh,
Sure.
good. Yeah, caramel apples. I forgot that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
love
I'm
it.
so out on this conversation today. Chili is like the main one. That's so
Yeah.
funny. Well, let me ask you both this then. Again, Halloween obviously one place where people can get tripped up nutritionally. Kelsey, you mentioned the Starbucks
Yeah.
Yeah.
pumpkin spice latte. I mean, those
Mhm.
things are just loaded, I know, calorically. And
Mhm.
what are some other ways, though, besides maybe those two? We'll call them events. I think a
Mhm.
Starbucks pumpkin spice latte is probably an event too. But Kelsey, what are
Right.
some ways that people could get tripped up nutritionally? Uh, can we say common fall pitfalls? Can
Mhm.
we hashtag fall pitfalls?
Yes,
Mm.
that makes sense. So I think I just want to throw this idea out there too. I think that one of the biggest pitfalls for people is just the idea of nostalgia, right? Like we go into this season, this season
Yeah.
of life or of the year, and we expect to have pumpkin spice lattes. We expect to eat our weight in cornbread and chili on Sundays, and we like there are all of
S'mores.
these right s'mores. There's Halloween candy. There's this and that. So I think that it's important to understand nostalgia is an idea that we have of the past that often has been so filtered that it's not even the actual memory that, or not even the actual event that existed. So I think I get like I have like I mentioned that now, like if I have a pumpkin spice latte, like a regular one, like full everything, full sugar, full fat, and full dairy, and I just feel terrible afterwards. So I think that's a big one, is to just look at these through the lens of, is this nostalgia, or is this actually something that is going on? So I think that's number one. I think the other foods, again, that we can get tripped up on is, it's all of these ushering in of these comfort foods, right? Like apple pie, caramel apples, all of these things that we see as traditionally fall. Pumpkin everything. Like, gosh, like there's like an entire aisle at the grocery store of things that should never have been made into pumpkin. So there's
am I wrong, or is it does that aisle grow earlier every
Yes,
year?
every
It
year.
seems like I'm already seeing it
It's like
now
taking over.
mid-August. Yeah.
True facts. Hashtag true facts.
Yeah. Hashtag true facts, or facts, true facts. So,
Yeah.
So anyway, so those are the sort of things, these like nostalgic comfort ideas that we're like, we have to eat this because it's fall, and that's just what you do during the fall.
Sure.
And G, what about you? Any thoughts on this of common things nutritionally people can get tripped up on, fall pitfalls?
Yeah, first off, right off the bat, Kelsey's right about all of that. But also, like, this is when you shift seasons, a lot of change comes with that. Obviously, there's the arrival of fall sports.
Yeah.
There's the return to school for a lot of kids. There's the change in the weather. People start wearing different clothes. All of a sudden, like, we're not wearing our summer apparel, we're wearing our fall apparel, and more of our bodies are hidden. And what you have is, like, you have this storm of things that are happening that create, stress and strain, or maybe take your eyes off the healthy eating prize. And so it's just very, very easy for this to be where you stop thinking healthy eating and where you shift into the comfort foods that Kelsey talked about.
Sure.
Or like the holidays are coming anyway, so I might as well start like my just overeating, over consuming, overindulging, over celebrating now,
Sure.
Right.
Because like those Christmas decorations, they start to show up in like September at the grocery store, or the Walmart or wherever now.
Right.
Oh, I got a little bit of a lag there in my internet. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, that's all right. So kind of I guess maybe another question from that. As we start thinking more hoodies, less swimwear, there's a less focus on conscientious eating, a shift, as you both said there. G, with the going back to school as well.
Yeah.
I know that your son Zai, his teacher sent home a list of healthy food snacks.
Let me tell you. Oh
my God.
Talk
about that?
This is like CrossFitter outrage porn right here. Let me tell you, like, you're gonna be Kelsey, you're gonna be so mad. I'll give you. I
haven't even seen this, so you guys are gonna get like my real reaction.
I haven't seen it either, so let's find out.
Oh my God! So I'll give you the Cliff's notes of this, right? So it's a snack letter. Second grade students can bring their own snack to school. They'll have a snack every morning. Every child is asked to bring one healthy snack because they won't provide them. Here are some snack ideas. Teddy Grahams, Ritz crackers, Club crackers, Wheat Thins, saltines, nut-free cereal like Trix or Pops, popsicles, Cheez-Its, Cheese Nips, Goldfish, most brands of popcorn, original and butter flavors like Skinny Pop, etc. Rolled Gold pretzels, Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars, Lay's or Ruffles chips, Doritos, Cheetos, and most Pringles flavors, Swiss Miss pudding, Jell-O pudding cups and gelatin, Nilla wafers, Honey Made graham crackers, Keebler vanilla wafers, Chips Ahoy cookies, but the crunchy flavor only in the blue packaging. Be sure you get that right. And finally, Oreo cookies, original flavor.
Not pumpkin
can't
spice
make,
flavored Oreos.
Not pumpkin spice.
you can't make this shit up. Holy crap.
So
I'm like trying to find a pressure point on my forehead to keep it from
Yeah.
exploding.
to stick with the pumpkin theme, I would say, oh my goodness.
Oh, snap.
Oh, I got the dad joke in. There you go.
Nailed it.
Well, at least they're really paying attention to that food pyramid from 70 years ago.
That base is really well represented.
All of the carbs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How did you feel when you first saw that, G?
We thought about writing a letter to the teacher, but we opted against it. Like, this is an uphill battle. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to think. I was like, I really hope that this person is not teaching nutrition in the school. That's all I'm going to say.
Sure.
What I would really like to see is the list of unhealthy snacks.
Right.
I don't understand.
That's the golden Oreos, not the original, or the double stuff Oreos, not the original.
Double stuff.
The chewy Chips Ahoy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dear God.
So is it, I guess the question would be then, and Kelsey, maybe you can start here. It seems like all we're talking about is the descent, the fall being the time of descent into madness here. Is there a healthy way to eat during the fall? Is there a way to really honestly stay on plan?
Is it possible?
As all this stuff, is it possible? I mean, everybody will be like, I can have a little cheat here, a little cheat there, but is it really possible to stay on plan during the fall?
Well, sure, because I think that we could probably pull a lot of people who do stay on plan during the fall, and there are really great examples of that. And I would call out too that fall is yet another season change. Like, I really like, G, that you pulled up that it was a season change, and that's really important because when things shift, we tend to get a little bit of chaotic. But here's the thing: when things shift into winter, there's an excuse to go off plan. When things shift into spring, an excuse. Summer, vacations, all excuses everywhere. So the one thing that I do like about fall is that as we come out of summer, we come into rhythms, right? We come into going back to school, not as many vacations, things tend to slow down. The nights are darker, which, Dallas, who's clearly not a vampire because otherwise he would love that. But the nights get darker. So you're not having like extended evenings out of the house. Like most people are settling down and home. I know that there's exceptions for fall sports and all that sort of stuff, but you're just out of the house a little bit less in general. So I think you can really take a hold of those rhythms and those renewed schedules and find what works for you, right? So maybe you need to shift some of your meal prep. Maybe you need to shift how much time you're spending, or maybe you're needing to buy some more pre-made healthy foods because kids are back in school. They've got 1,000 sports, those sort of things, but finding ways to use those new rhythms to work to your advantage, because there's plenty of healthy seasonal vegetables, right? Like you've got, gourds, you've got pumpkins, those sort of things, but spaghetti squashes, butternut squash, all of those things are coming into season right now, and they're excellent, and they provide different flavor profiles. They provide different nutrients, but they're still really, really nutritious.
Absolutely.
G, anything you'd like to add to that?
She nailed it. I completely agree. Like it's all what you make of it, right? You can actually the opportunity you can seize if you know how to approach it. And we'll share some tips, some ideas here today. If you want to make it a season of healthier eating, you could totally do it.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And I think that a lot of times that if you're choosing healthier options, some of those comfort foods lend themselves to like paleofying things a little bit easier, right? Because chili, like you can make I'm going to say this and people are going to be like, that is not true, but you can make a really great beanless chili, right? Like you can move away from pasta and use things like spaghetti squash that are in season at the grocery store. You can make really hearty soups with butternut squash or whatever. So I think that some of these foods actually make it a little bit easier to do alternative recipes.
I think something you said there too a moment ago, Kelsey, minute or so ago was the idea that being aware of the changing rhythms and like your food prep times may have to change, or as
Right.
you're going to soccer practices, things like that. Um, and ultimately, G, it's a rule that you always talk about too, is if you want the seasonal vegetables, stick to the outside aisles of the grocery store anyway.
Mhm.
That's going to provide you with better options rather than going down the carb aisle.
Sure.
The healthy snack aisle.
Right, the healthy
Right.
snack aisle, as it's sometimes known. So, G, let's just toss this at you then. Obviously, chili, you've mentioned that one. Do you have any
Yeah.
other healthy substitution fall food favorites?
Well, I'm a big fan of pumpkin pancakes,
Mm.
and I have a favorite recipe where you actually use coconut flour, which is one of my favorite flour substitutes, and they are Xi approved,
Mhm.
which matters a lot.
That's
So
the only thing that matters sometimes.
that matters a lot. Yeah, and I'm definitely a nerd also for like for years now. I've relied very heavily on a zone diet chili minus their parmesan and their cheese inclusion on that. And I'm more than happy to share in the show notes the recipes for the paleo pumpkin pancakes or this zone chili. But both of them for me have been real staples around fall time.
Nice. What about
Mhm.
you, Kelsey? What are some of your fall food favorites, healthy options?
Yeah, so I already mentioned a couple things like substituting spaghetti squash
Yeah.
for pasta, and we have a great recipe that once. So I don't really like to buy spaghetti squash in the summer because I've cracked open a couple, and you can tell they've been out of season for like
Yeah.
9 months at that point. But there's a great spaghetti squash recipe or spaghetti squash pizza pie recipe from Paleo OMG, and I can send that to G to post in the notes, or I can post it in the Facebook group or whatever. But so there's an option to use that, but I also like to simplify a lot of recipes. So for example, if we're going apple picking, and I think apple picking, I like going to pick our own fruits and vegetables because you're getting movement, you're learning about the trees, you're learning like you're just, especially if you have kids, like they like take in so much from the observation of how to actually procure your own food. It's very beneficial. But
Yeah.
we'll come home with a bunch of bags of apples, and I'm like, okay, I want to make an apple crumble. But instead of doing like the full flour, full sugar thing, like it's really simple to just peel, chop the apples, saute them, sprinkle a little bit of, or mix up some almond flour, some cinnamon, and like either coconut oil or butter, and just mix it in with it. And you get a lot of that seasoning or that flavoring of an apple crumble without all of the extra ingredients. So simplify what you're doing, and those things are quicker. But there's options for that. When it comes to pumpkin spice lattes, like one of my hacks for this is to just do coffee with whatever milk substitute you have, sprinkle in some pumpkin spice seasoning, like you can get it in a little jar without extra sugar or anything.
Sure.
You can blend it with an immersion blender, do a little bit of stevia to sweeten it. It's not going to taste like a Starbucks pumpkin spice latte, but um, have your taste buds shift over and change into some of these better foods, and then they become real treats, and you don't have to worry about that sugar or fat bombs or anything like that, depending on what your goals are. They don't necessarily align with it.
Yeah. G, any other thoughts? I like this idea. Keep it convenient. It's more likely to be
Mhm.
consumed. Any other
Right.
thoughts you'd like to add to that, G?
We have taken my son to some local orchards to actually go and procure, as Kelsey
Mhm.
put it, our own fruits and vegetables. Like, I think this needs to be celebrated. Like peaches are in season right now, and they
Yeah,
are bloody awesome. They
they are
are
Yeah.
amazing.
awesome. They
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
so good, and it's like that. I believe that is how God intended for us to be eating dessert. Like
Mhm.
that is a straight dessert deliciousness. So we have all of the peaches at our house, and we're going to turn it into all of the things, just by eating them by themselves or turning it into like a peach cobbler or something like that. Super excited for it.
Mhm.
Awesome. Um, so let's go back here just a second. I know we were joking earlier about the healthy food options from Zeiss School. Let's go back to just back to school
Yeah.
topic, if only briefly here. What are some ideas and suggestions that either of you would have for healthy options for kids in this, back to school period of time?
Mhm. So, if we're speaking specifically about lunchboxes, G, I know you were talking about the snack list, but one thing that I really recommend to parents was, I already said this in the speech, but
Yeah.
trying to get your kids to eat healthy foods that they don't like by putting it in their lunchbox is such a waste of time and money. Like it's just not a good opportunity. It's not the right space for them to be trying foods, lots of overstimulation, not enough time, all that good stuff. So
When
put
I
their
was a
lunch,
kid, it was about trading.
right?
When you
And
saw
nobody's
something you
going to
didn't
trade
want
you,
in your lunch bag, you were like,
right.
hey, I'll trade you for that brownie. Or I'll trade you for this. Or
Yep.
I'll trade you for that. That definitely happened when I was a kid.
Yes, absolutely. Or if they have money to spend, they're just going to throw away what you sent them and buy that. Or they are not going to eat it and then they're going to be undernourished going into their afternoon classes. And that's not a good situation either. So I'm a big fan of putting good fats in kids' lunchboxes. Kids need good fats to grow, period. Like no question about that. But also those good fats are going to feed their brain cells so they can be more productive in the afternoon. So things like
Mm.
peanut butters, nut butters, if you have a cooler bag, things like high quality cheeses, those sort of good fats are just an excellent opportunity. Throw some lunch meat in there that they like. And then if they have some fruit or vegetables that they like, that's great. But let's remember that those fruit or vegetables, even though they're fibrous, are carb sources and they're just going to burn off quicker. So you are better off, I think, putting good sources of fat, yogurt, that sort of stuff too, good sources of fat and protein in their lunch boxes to get them a really great afternoon at school.
That's good. G, any final thoughts from you on the kids' school options?
Yeah, we're a big fan of going with the nut butters as well. For obviously, like it's a source of protein and carbohydrate and fat. So in a pinch, it is an internally macro complete source of energy.
Yeah.
But then also, it doesn't require refrigeration, so
Mhm.
it can basically like exist in any situation, cool weather, warm weather, which is
Yeah.
great. I think just even taking a step back and capitalizing on the opportunity of doing prepared lunches for your child in the first place is really valuable, because one of the key tenets, one of the core principles of eating healthy is the idea of preparing your foods in advance and doing that. Like if you're doing prep on the weekend for your child's lunch, you're already winning the game because you're proactively thinking in terms of what should my child be eating at lunchtime. So in terms of like controlling what you can control, all of us should really be doubling down on prepared lunches, prepared dinners ahead of time, spending a little bit of time on the weekends to do the mass production, the assembly line of the foods, so that we have those things available to us. And speaking to the adults out there, like the lunch boxes don't have to be just for the kids. Like us as adults, we should be bringing our own lunches also.
Right.
If you're on a nutrition plan that includes having lunch, like don't just do this for your kids, do this for you too.
It's a good point. Kelsey, any other, I think we've covered this pretty well here. Any other closing thoughts for you that you'd like to, well, you got a burning desire to talk about it.
Well, and I just want to talk one other thought that I had about
Yeah.
lunches and all that. Like if you I think that it's very important to feed kids healthy lunches, but if it is becoming a battle, I think it's important to remember that the habits that we instill at home, sort of like G already mentioned, but taking care of ourselves, eating nutrient dense family dinners as much as possible, getting high quality breakfasts in them, like setting that expectation at home. Our kids are always going to go out and be able to cause chaos whenever we're not around, right? Whether it's whatever, eating, drinking, soda or whatever that we don't allow in the house or whatever. But them coming back and getting into those, again, rhythms, getting into what we do, those are going to make a bigger difference in their overall quality of life and what they carry forward into adulthood than necessarily what they eat for second grade lunch or for fifth grade lunch or whenever.
Yeah, that's good.
I agree. I think there is no substitute for like the example that we set for our kids, right? Because whatever we do, whatever I do is what Zai will think is normal. Whatever Dallas does is what Arrow is going to think is normal and like appropriate adult behavior, right? So like there probably is like no combination of like lunch foods that you give to your kids that is going to undo all of the training that they get by how they see you eat at dinner time yourself. Right.
Yeah.
So like speaking to the adults, because like our average CrossFitter here is between the age of 25 to 45, married with kids, working professional. You have kids. If you're one of our CrossFitters, you probably have kids. You need to be leading from the front, right? My parents did not eat healthy growing up. And so like my nutrition was terrible, but there was one thing, like one legacy that my mom has for me. She really loved and hammered on broccoli when she was like when we were coming up.
You're a
And that is
beast.
one thing I have definitely embraced that from her. I probably have like was 50% fueled by broccoli while in utero.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, you're a broccoli beast. You're
Mhm.
infamous for your broccoli. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I love that. One other thing I would just add as a final thought from my side of things is, Kelsey, you brought up very early this idea of memories. It brings up nostalgia, it brings up a
Mhm.
lot of memories. One of the things my wife and I have tried to shift is we don't want our family memories to be around food. We want them to
Mhm.
be around the relationships. And
Mhm.
so the more we can make it about the moments together and the
Right.
less we make it about the menu,
Mhm.
we have found that works well for our kids as well, because they're remembering the event, not necessarily the food of the event.
Yep. I
So
think that's perfect.
yeah. All right. So, G, let me ask you this here. You get to kind of take us out. Closing thoughts on if people want to get in touch with us and learn a little bit more about CrossFit Edwardsville.
Yeah, if you're new to CrossFit Edwardsville or you're just new to CrossFit, you want to learn a little bit about us, you can do a lot just by researching us online. You can Google CrossFit Edwardsville. Read our Google reviews. We have 1,000 of them. Find us on Facebook. Read our Facebook reviews. We have 1,000 of them. Watch our podcasts on YouTube, etc. And then whenever you're ready to actually like learn more about the programs here at CFE, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com, schedule a no sweat conversation with a coach over the phone. It's super chill, low key, to talk about like what your CrossFit journey would look like here.
Awesome. And Coach Kelsey, how do people reach out to you if they're wanting to have that conversation also?
So you can get a hold of me at Kelsey Albers on social media. Also follow my new podcast. Well, not new, resurrected podcast, Barbells and Bone Broth. It's available on Stitcher and iTunes, as well as like SoundCloud. So it's out there. We're talking about food addiction in season 1, and it's Caroline Skelly was just a guest on our podcast. So
Nice.
it has been a in-depth season, and we have created more questions than we've answered, but it's been interesting nonetheless.
Awesome. Well, as always, Coach Kelsey, thank you for joining us. Coach G, thanks for the co-host, man. I always love having you guys on and having these conversations. So again, everybody, if you want to reach out to us, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com or at CrossFit Edwardsville on Instagram or Facebook. Thank you so much, G. I will let you roll us out. Have a championship day.